Zunk. We are here with the Lunchroom Syndicate at the Jock Table once again, looking at another NHL All-Time Team. Today, the Vancouver Canucks.
And they're going to have a very interesting team, I got a feeling. Let's start with center. I'm going to guess the two obvious ones are Linden and Sedin. My cat is not a Henrik Sedin fan.
Henrik Sedin, Trevor Linden, those are obvious. I mean, you can't leave them off when you're talking Vancouver Canuck history here. Then after that, we have Brendan Morrison, who is the center for my favorite all-time line in Vancouver. We have Cliff Ronning, who is like an OG to me. We have Ryan Kesler, one of the best defensive centers to ever play and in his prime here in Vancouver. And we have two young guns that we're looking at now that if we're going to put one of them on, we're going to have to argue over which one of those goes on.
I would say Elias Pettersson probably doesn't make the list just on the sheer fact he's only played 140 games. But he's probably going to make this list eventually. I would think the only reason why I would put Bo Horvat right now ahead of Elias Pettersson is Bo Horvat's the captain. I think the reality is with those two, I think we can safely eliminate them from the conversation for now.
I don't know about safely, but I do agree that they're probably taking a current backseat.
Yeah.
But again, my expectation for Pettersson is he's going to be one of the three best centers to ever play for Vancouver. Personally, I am taking Brendan Morrison out of the conversation here, which is rough for me to do.
Someone's got to go. I mean, that's the problem. We only got 4 spots. All 7 of these guys have a case, and then obviously, like Ryan Kesler, how can you leave him off? But somebody's got to be off. There's only 4 spots, and 2 of them have to be Sedin and Linden.
Yeah, I'm thinking Cliff Ronning and Thomas Gratton.
Ronning doesn't have the stats, but you saw him more than I did. So
he's not much under a point per game. So those are our 4 that we have: Henrik Sedin, Trevor Linden, Cliff Ronning, and Thomas Gratton. A little bit. Let's go over to lefty. Some great names. Brian Allen, a sturdy defenseman. Dave Babbage. I mean, look at that muzzy.
That is a mustache. That alone should probably make him on the top 3.
Man, yeah. Alex Edler on there. Dan Hamhuis is one of the first names that I personally think of. Brett Hedican, Jovo Kopp, Dennis Kearns, Jyrke Lume, Matt Oland, Harold Snepitz.
Who has just an absolutely incredible amount of penalty minutes. Well, 3 guys I've known from this group more than any of them is I've heard of Jovo Kopp. Dan Hamhuis is the name that sticks out, and obviously Alex Edler. I don't know if I feel comfortable putting Alex Edler on a list like this. He's a good player, and he's played a ton of games, had 400 points, which is nothing to sniff at, and has 600 penalty minutes. So he's been a great player.
You look at that 400 points, it's leading the way here.
I just never thought of him as that type of great all-time player for a team. I would say we would probably agree with Jovanovski on this list. Matthias Holland, also another one of those guys that ton of games, solid amount of points, ton of penalties. I think just for the 1,400 penalty minutes alone, Harold Snepsis probably should be in the conversation.
Harold Snepitz. He's a mean son of a bitch. Jyrke Lume, one of the guys that I really looked up to as a kid watching him play.
I'm cool with putting Olin on there because he has the games, he has points, and I feel like we need to have somebody that's in top 2 for games played on the defense side.
Matt Oland was my number 1 choice.
All right.
Man, I'm back and forth now between Harold and Jyrke Lume.
I'm leaning toward Jyrke.
Okay. I will not argue against that. I probably was leaning a little more towards Harold, but I already told you I have a soft spot for Jyrke Lume.
Yeah, let's go left wing.
Left wing.
I also think this is going to be a hard side.
Oh, man. I don't know if it's going to be a hard side. I think I have my 4 where I'm like, these 4 are in. Sorry about the other great players.
If I had to take a guess, I know 2 for sure. I mean, you can't have one Sedin without the other. So, and Marcus Naslin's got to be up there too. That is a shit ton of penalty minutes.
Is that accurate for Gino?
Like, what the hell, man? Just slow your roll, man. The dude averaged almost 5 penalty minutes a game. He averaged a fight per game. I don't know how you feel about Burrows. He likes to bite people.
Burrows doesn't make it here for me. I thought he was a really solid player. When talking about all-time greats, I don't think he produced even enough to be on that list.
Do you have Don Lever on here? Lever?
I do not.
I didn't think Alex Burrows or Don Brashear would be on this list.
It's just interesting for me that these are my 4 that are going on here, and I already had them, and then they weren't obvious to you. Tiger Williams is one of them, and Jeff Courtnall is one of them.
And Tiger Williams does have a great name.
This is somebody that, to me, transcends Vancouver, and we're just talking about greatest players. So, our left wings, Daniel Sedin, Marcus Naslund, Tiger Williams, and Jeff Courtnall. There. I would just like to remind our YouTube audience here, just remind everybody, if you would like to join us live and join in the discussion and help us with our selections, you can join us over at twitch.tv. Christopher's got his station up and going, Zunker LRS. That is Zunker Lunchroom Syndicate. We stream over there for our hockey all-time teams Wednesday night at midnight.
Boom, 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 boom. Righty. A shorter list.
Yes. To me, no one stands out like the other positions here.
Yeah.
A little bit tougher.
You got the best name of our group. We got the Butcher, who lives up to that name.
Kevin Bieksa. He made our Anaheim all-time team. Kevin Bieksa played better and is more well-known for Vancouver. Kevin Bieksa, if it's up to me, does not make this team. Adrian Aucoin, I really like him. He's out. Bieksa's out for me. Tanev's out for me. And then probably Bob Daly's the next one out for me.
So we're looking at Butcher, Salo, Lidster, and Lands as the 4 of the 4 we're choosing from. Lidster has more complete profile. I think he's probably got to be on there.
My blind instinct goes Lands and Salo. I think those are the best puck-moving defensemen in their more complete games to their defense. Doug Lidster, Rick Lands, Sammy Salo.
And do goalies, because goalies going to be a shorter list, but I think there might be some slight disagreement here.
But if you want to come and say, no, Jakob Markstrom needs to be on this list, I can't argue against it. If you want Richard Brodeur on this list, I can't argue against it, but those are the 2 that are out for me.
I would agree. Fuck him. Luongo, just because of his longevity in general in the NHL, but just he was really, really good in Vancouver.
Kirk McLean was there for their finals run. To have an all-time team here, to not have Robert Luongo as your number 1 goaltender is absolutely insane.
I would.
So, I don't have him on the team.
You don't. I do.
Played really well in Vancouver. Captain of the Vancouver Canucks. Dan Cloutier and Kirk McLean are my 2 goaltenders. I don't want to try to decide. It's a coin flip for me, back and forth between the 2. I want them both. They're the 2 that I think of when you say Vancouver Canucks.
But Kirk McLean played 500 games. There's a reason he played 500 games.
So we have Robbie Lou, Kirk McLean. Dan, I know you're watching. Please know I'd have you on before Bobby Lou. Okay, that leaves us with the right wing side. Are you ready for some controversy here? I'll go through my list of players that you can absolutely not leave off.
You cannot leave off.
You cannot leave off Pavel Bure. You cannot leave off Rick Blight, Todd Bertuzzi, Chris Odolfsson, Alexander McGillney, Stan Smeel, Tony Tanti, Dennis Ververdeert. You cannot leave them off. There are 8 names that we need to get down to 4, and I refuse to leave any of them off.
I'm going to start with the most controversial name on this list, Todd Bertuzzi. What people forget about Todd Bertuzzi, yes, he was someone that beat the shit out of you. Like, he was a physical player. He was almost a point-per-game player, too.
Out of these 8 of players that we cannot leave off, Todd Bertuzzi, for me, literally cannot be left off.
I would tend to agree because it's just, minus the incident, the dude was a beast, man.
Todd Bertuzzi, Marcus Naslund. We already left Morrison off, and I told you I feel dirty about it. Todd's on there.
I mean, Pavel Bure, the dude's just an absolute fucking beast. He always was throughout his career, and for me, he's in that consideration highly.
The longest tenured captain in Vancouver history. Maybe tied with Sedin. The Steamers got to go on.
I look at someone like Tony Tonti, who plays a ton of games and has more goals than assists. And he does have a point advantage on the other two by a fairly considerable margin. So, I mean, he seems like a fairly complete player, and he has the mullet.
Spinning all around, get everybody woozy. It's 2:45 and it look like a Watusi.